Drayson is joining us here, the CEO of Sensyne Health. A very good morning to you, Paul.
Morning.
Hello there. So your agreement with Somerset NHS Foundation Trust, it means that you've now reached that crucial 5 million patient record. It's a milestone for you. Can you maybe explain what it means for Sensyne?
Well, it means that we've achieved one of our primary objectives that we set 2 years ago at our IPO, which was to create a patient database of sufficient size to be able to answer, using clinical artificial intelligence, some of those most important questions that doctors and researchers trying to develop new medicines are faced. A database of that size enables us to have enough data to tackle those questions.
And what has Sensyne been able to achieve with this data?
So I think that the most important benefits that the analysis of this data leads to are the insights which improve patient care. So examples of being able to identify the risk factors which enable doctors to better predict stroke and therefore be able to improve the care of patients who have had stroke. Doing analysis of patients who suffer from heart failure to be able to identify the characteristics of the patients within that subgroup, to be able to better personalize the treatment for their care. And most recently, during the pandemic, trying to understand, using computer vision to analyze scans of patients' lungs that have lung disease, to be able to detect lung disease related to COVID-19 infection, to be able to better risk assess patients who have COVID-19 infection in terms of their likelihood to need admission to intensive care unit or to have invasive respiratory intervention. So it enables us to be able to analyze the data once it's been anonymized, to be able to come up with these insights which enable the doctors to improve the care for patients. But the other thing that's very important, and what really differentiates Sensyne from the other companies working in this area, is that we have this unique partnership model with the National Health Service. So we have this double bottom line model, whereby not only do we provide these benefits in terms of improvement in care and accelerating the development of new medicines, but we also share the financial return that we make as a company back with the NHS.
That actually leads me on to my next question. I was going to ask, how does the NHS benefit then? So that goes back to them then?
Yes, so we have what we call a double bottom line model, which is that we recognize that we're only able to do this research because we have this research partnership with the National Health Service. We're a for-profit commercial organization, so we believe it's right to share the financial return back into the NHS for that to be then reinvested into patient care. And we do that in 3 ways, both through the provision of equity in the company. So currently now the National Health Service collectively owns about 11%, really nearly coming up to 12% of Sensyne equity. We share the revenues that we generate through a royalty share mechanism. And we also make investment in IT infrastructure in the NHS. Now, collectively, since we founded the company, have been doing this, that adds up to about £19.6 million in total. And we see that continuing to grow in the future as we continue to do this work. And we see that's a very important aspect of the way in which Sensyne aligns really everybody working as a team, if you like, to come up with these insights to improve care, but also to fairly share the financial return that's generated.
Now, talking about financial return, you've seen huge momentum in the last few months or so. Are you confident that that will continue?
Yes, I think we are. I think that's because, you know, we are a young company. When we did our IPO 2 years ago, we're very early stage. We're proving a new model, and I think 2 years later, we've shown that the way in which we work really delivers results. We've talked today about some of the clinical results that we've achieved, the work that we do for our pharmaceutical customers, has been proven to show the value of that work in terms of helping them to better design clinical trials for new medicines. And as we've been doing this, this recognition of the advantages of the Sensyne partnership model is starting to really land with people. And so we've seen a momentum, both in terms of increased interest from the pharmaceutical industry and increasing interest from partners with the NHS. And so we believe that this gives us a strong platform to grow the business. We've seen that the effect of the COVID-19 pandemic has really accelerated people's need to use the type of tools that Sensyne has developed. And so we're feeling that the business is in a very strong position, and one where that momentum, which we've seen over the last 6 months, will be maintained.
It is an immensely competitive environment that you're in. Sensyne is up against some very powerful, big tech competition. How do you expect to win against such large companies?
I think it goes back to our unique model again. The big technology companies just can't copy that model, and this gives us a unique advantage. We need to recognize, I think, that the analysis of anonymized patient data from electronic health records, which then can be analyzed using artificial intelligence, is really transforming how medicine is practiced and how drugs are developed. But these data has come through the provision of care for patients. And therefore, there needs to be a relationship between the companies doing that analysis and the providers of the data, which reinforces trust, which is transparent, and which has fairness at its heart. And so that's why we invented the double bottom line model, to really address that point. That's something which is unique to Sensyne. And what we're seeing is that increasingly people here in the United Kingdom, but also beginning in other countries around the world, see that this is the right way of doing things. This is what we see as the best way of aligning clinicians, patients, and researchers to deliver the best results. In the end, this is what it's all about, getting the best analysis done so we get the best results for patients. We think this partnership model gives us with a real advantage against the competition, even the largest companies in the world.
And Paul, just lastly, while we've got you here, so we're talking about your milestone today, the 5 million. What's the next milestone then?
I think the big step that we'll be making next is the launch of our first software product in the United States. That's what people are now waiting for us to do. We're really well placed with that. For example, the announcement just last week of Derek Baird joining our team as a president of our US operations, Sensyne Health Inc. in the United States. He's a really experienced person in this field, a great network with healthcare providers in the United States. He's going to be leading the work that we do in developing our business in the United States. And that's going to be a very important milestone for us in the near future.
Exciting times. Thank you very much indeed. That's Lord Paul Drayson there, the CEO of Sensyne Health, here on Proactive London today.